Hi, I'm Jason Grover of ThatShelf.com, and we're here to look at a series of Quadio releases from Warner and Rhino. So one of the absolute joys as this particular collector has experienced over the last few years is a recognition that maybe a small market, but there's definitely a market for original quadrophonic mixes. It was an epiphany, frankly, for me several years ago when certain, very capable individuals were going back to the original quadrophonic releases on 8-track, on reel-to-reel, on vinyl. There were 3 competing quadrophonic series, SQQS and CD4. If I'm getting it correct, it gets so confusing. Forget the DVD audio, SACD drama, forget the HD DVD Blu-ray drama. The quadrophonic series was so insular, so ridiculous in the mid-70s. And yet there were unique and distinct mixes that were actually made at the time, particularly from certain labels, Warner being a major one, that actually have some fantastic versions. Some of the Quadio sets, the Doobie Brothers of Chicago have shown on this channel before, and we have some other titles. Many of them are relatively obscure in today's sort of marketplace. Some of the records may not be the top of the list for some people, but for me, they're just absolutely amazing that in high quality digital surround using essentially a home theater setup, you can actually hear quadrophonic. Now, again, as fans of the channel are aware, my quad setup is, I think, unique, certainly relatively unique. I have a custom XLR switch box, which actually allows me to take a normal sort of 5-1 bed, where you have left, center, right, and side surrounds, or rear surrounds, depending. But because of a 5-1 setup, my speakers, I mean, one of them is right here, I have better rear speakers than I do side speakers. These are my B&W 805s. And this allows me to create a true quad setup. So then instead of the sound like in a 5-1 setup with the side surrounds signals coming from the side, they're truly coming from behind in a way that actually creates that sort of rectangle with you in the middle, the way that a quadraphonic setup is meant to be. It allows me to have an Atmos setup when I want to have Atmos, 2-channel when I want to have 2-channel, but also 4-channel, 4.0 channel, no sub when I want to. That is actually one of the main motivating factors that I had when I actually upgraded to my Anthem, my AVM 90, because it allows me quickly, either through my Oppo or my Pioneer 4K player, that when I'm playing one of these discs, I can simply hit a button and everything just goes to 4.0 mode. I hit the XLR switches, click them on the side, and then instead of it going to rear surrounds and having all that sort of filling in the sound information the way that some sound notions work, a true 4.0 truly coming from my fronts and my rears, creating basically phantom center side to side and phantom center back to front. And that's what you get with a really amazing quad mix. So we have a number of discs that I got sent to me, which is amazing. I know some of them, others I do not know. So here's Tres Hombres, as they say, Tres Hombres in French. It's not French. Anyway, this is the ZZ Top, the ZZ Top release in full quadraphonic. This is one I'm super excited to sort of dive into. This is kind of fun. Any fan of 500 Songs, Andrew Hickey will know the teasing that he does of Rod Stewart. But Atlantic Crossing may not be, his biggest record of all time, but certainly a huge, huge record with a bunch of stuff on here worth definitely diving into. And it's one of those fantastic releases. This one I don't know at all. Beaver and Krause, Gandharva and All Good Men. Here's a good example of something I'm absolutely clueless about, but it's really cool that, to have it on quadraphonic, why not? And this one also a record I don't know at all. The Modern Jazz Quartet, Blues on Bach, Regrets, Blues in B flat, etc., etc. So there's this one with its full quad mix. The 2 most recent ones are ones that I was really excited for, frankly. One is this. This is The Colors of the Day by Judy Collins. This is essentially Judy Collins' greatest hits. I'm a big fan of Judy Collins. Obviously, I'm a huge Joni fan. And through Joni, you go back to Judy, as it were. And yeah, all kinds of amazing stuff on here, including, her, of course, her cover of Both Sides Now, her cover of Suzanne. There are few people more responsible for bringing out music I love than Judy Collins. Not only her own music, but of course her championing of Leonard Cohen at his early stages of career, convincing the poet to start singing, and also her recognizing, thanks in part to others around her, Al Cooper among them, of the, and eventually David Crosby, the genius of Joni Mitchell. Huge shout out, major role in the history of folk music, contemporary music, pop music, whatever we want to call it. And so yeah, really wild to have her stuff in quadrophonic. And this is, I'm a big sucker for this. Again, mentioned on this channel before, one of my, and I have to do a long deep dive into it, but my absolute definitive record as a kid was Free to Be You and Me, covered by the New Seekers. From there, I realized that they did the Like to Teach the World to Sing. It was originally the Hillside Singers did the version that was in the ad, but their cover, spectacular. Look what they've done to my song on here. Beautiful People. Just great stuff. So I've had a couple of these. I've had the sort of DTS, extractions of other versions in my collection, essentially bootlegs. But to have this as an official digital release, absolutely wild. Let's crack one of these open. What they are, they're just Blu-rays. It's Blu-ray audio essentially, but in this super jewel case. I'm so not great at getting these labels off. Not label, shrink wrap off. There we go. So as we open one of them, you can see these were always called super jewel cases back in the SACD era. DVD audio were never in these, which is wild because this is a Warner product in essentially an SACD package with a Blu-ray in it, if that makes any sense. Tied obviously to either Rhino stuff or Elektra in this case. So yeah, you have on the back here the Elektra and the Rhino logo. Totally wild. Looks like a normal case. As we open it up, the disc itself sits in this lovely little plastic tray with the old school Elektra sleeve. You can see on the inside, it's actually advertising the four that I just showed earlier. And then, yeah, we have sort of slid in here in these weird little top loading thing, the booklet. Remember booklets? And it does a really nice job of doing that, but that's the exciting thing. Actual Quadmaster tapes that were actually used to actually create this. And this awesome little nerdy quad sort of breakdown about what it actually is. The Blu-ray was master used the original 4-track quad mix as the source material. The original format of the master was a 4-track half-inch analog tape running at 15 IPS. There's not a separate or discrete LFE, so no subwoofer track, although one can hear or not hear the LFE channel based on what settings one chooses on the integrated amplifier. So that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like if I would have left a normal 5.1 and actually set my speakers to, let's say, small, then certain bass frequencies would just go into the subwoofer. This way I have a pure 4.0 mix if I want. I have full range speakers for all intents and purposes for what this is being done. The Blu-ray can be played back in two ways, with bass management or without bass management. Bass management sends the sum of the low frequencies, etc. Now enjoy some Quadio. So look, there's a bunch of them. I am desperate to get. The Paul Simon stuff would be amazing. A full set of all the Frank Zappa stuff. There's still things out there, but the fact that these are coming and coming relatively regularly, frankly, like the fact that SACDs are still a thing, is amazing. And I'm so excited that this stuff is being done. I'm a huge champion of this kind of thing. I understand that the market's not going to be super huge, but the fact that you're providing legitimate ways for actually creating this stuff. It's one thing to have these new and grand Atmos mixes, and I'm also a big fan of that, as long as we preserve the originals. But this truly is a preservational thing. This is stuff that is being able to be played for those of us that are wanting and willing to play the stuff in a way that's frankly superior to an original release. Yes, I would love to have demodulators. I need separate demodulators for CD4. I believe my cartridge is sufficiently it goes to high enough frequencies that I'll actually deal with the carrier away for CD4. This is a whole nother nightmare to deal with, complicated, etc., etc. But the fact of the matter is I can just throw this in on digital and get something that's as close to the master quad mix as possible. Absolutely stellar. So a huge, huge shout out to all of those that actually continue to make this available for those of like us that are nuts about this kind of thing. It's such a joy. At this time when so many things are going away, to have things that are being added, things that, you know, never would have dreamed of having this kind of release in a sort of an official way here in 2025. Kudos, kudos, kudos. For thatshelf.com, I'm Jason Gorber. Let me know in the comments what you think about these quadrophonic mixes. If there's something that excites you, or that there's those titles that you're actually actively hoping to get. Please subscribe, follow us on social media. We will see you next video. All the best. Take care.